Okay, hi everybody. Meteorologist Joe Rayo at the home base in Putnam Valley. We're coming up on 25 minutes after 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and just wanted to give you an update on the weather situation around the region. We had a rather gloomy day today with spotty areas of mist, drizzle, and patchy areas of fog. We're going to go into the evening hours pretty much on that note. And what we're looking at for the overnight hours is a rather sharp weather frontal system that'll be moving on through our area. I would say sometime around 4 to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And it is during that 4 to 6 a.m. Time frame that we're thinking that we're going to be looking at some rather significant rain activity or shower activity. We could very quickly, in a span of just a couple, 3 hours, pick up somewhere between 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of rain. Don't be surprised if we end up with a little bit of thunder or see some flashes of lightning, because this is a rather robust cold front that'll be moving on into and through our area again in the early hours of the morning tomorrow. In its advance, we're going to be looking at gusty, strong winds that'll be increasing first from an easterly direction, and this will be in the after midnight hours tonight. And then as that front rolls on through here like a 40-ton Mack truck, as it rolls on through around daybreak tomorrow morning, those winds are going to very sharply shift over from east into the west and pick up. We're looking at the potential tomorrow of winds gusting in excess of 35 miles an hour. I think they may just fall short of wind advisory criteria. So I don't think we're going to be, at least at this moment, I don't think we're going to be looking at any wind warnings or wind advisories. That could change. We'll monitor that over the course of the night tonight, but that'll be the key about tomorrow, will be the strong gusty winds, and also driving into our area with those gusty winds, much colder temperatures. Well, actually, there will be a noticeable drop. It won't be a sharp drop in temperatures. Overnight tonight, for example, I'm thinking that we're going to see temperatures this evening somewhere between 40 and 43 for much of the tri-state metropolitan area. But then after midnight, slowly but surely, with the approach of that front, the temperatures are going to be slowly going upwards through the 40s. We'll reach our high temperature tomorrow early in the day. I'm thinking anywhere from 42 to maybe even in some spots as high as 50 degrees. But again, that's going to come early in the day tomorrow, say right after the frontal passage, say around 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we'll see colder air begin to filter in, and temperatures are going to be dropping during the midday and especially the afternoon, back on down through the 40s. Eventually, by this hour tomorrow, I'm expecting temperatures to be in the 30s, and those brisk winds, while dying off a bit tomorrow night, will still be with us for not only tomorrow night, but for Friday, for Saturday, even for Sunday. We're going to have some gusty breezes to deal with. Friday looks like a dry day. Saturday looks dry. Sunday looks dry. A slow, and I want to underscore that, a slow increase in sunshine, kind of a blend or mix of cloud cover and sun on Saturday, on Friday, I should say. Saturday, we'll see some sun, some clouds. The sunniest day of the lot will probably be on Sunday. Tomorrow, we'll break out into some sunshine, but I do think we're going to lose the sun again because of the very strong and gusty winds and the instability in the atmosphere. I think clouds will return for the midday and the afternoon. Also, don't be surprised if we see a passing snow flurry. It's not a big thing. It's not a major thing. But if you see a few snowflakes in the air tomorrow afternoon, that'll be again due to that unstable air as the winds and the temperatures. The winds pick up and the temperatures slowly but surely go down. But I think, again, tomorrow morning, you might want to set the alarm early for your trek to work or school, maybe 10 or 15 minutes earlier, because I do believe, again, between 4 and 6 o'clock tomorrow morning will be that time frame when it will be raining pretty hard, raining cats and dogs, as my Davis Weather Center equipment sometimes flashes when we have very heavy amounts of rain falling in a short interval of time. 4 to 6 a.m. Again, a half to maybe 3/4 of an inch, and all of that crowded into that last few hours before daybreak tomorrow morning. That is for tomorrow morning. And again, don't be surprised if you hear a rumble or two of thunder or see a flash of lightning in the wee hours of early Thursday morning. Let's check the chat board here. I have my good friend Dennis Cassia who's on. How you doing, Dennis? Daniel Fitzsimmons. Will we ever get snow in March? Well, I'll tell you what, Dan, it ain't happening in the first few days. It's probably not going to happen for the first week or 10 days of March. If we do see anything in March, it's not likely to happen, I think, until later in the month, maybe on toward April. And I still think, and again, this is just more of a gut feeling than anything else, that we may very well finish out the month of March and maybe go into April with a more wintry weather pattern than what we have seen all through the regular winter season. And we're coming up now on the 29th of February. That marks, believe it or not, the end of meteorological winter. Whatever winter we did have in this year so far of 2020. Daniel Fitzsimmons, hi. Nashla Musa is on. How are you, Nashla? Danilo Evangelista is on. Pamela Gasper is on. Hey, guys, shooting at Coors headquarters, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 7 dead. I did not hear about that. That is, how many more of those are we going to hear about, Pamela? This seems to be like a thing which we just can't seem to stop. It seems like every other week we get one of these types of situations. I hope and pray that we don't have more of those in the coming days ahead or weeks ahead. And that's a sad news story here. Again, coming out of Milwaukee, Coors headquarters in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 7 dead. This according to Pamela Gasper. I haven't seen the news for much of the day today, but it happened around 2:30 Central Standard Time. So that's a couple of hours ago. Let's see. Where's the snow? Says Daniel Fitzsimmons. This is the worst winter ever. It's probably the worst winter, or among the worst, if you are a snow lover. Yeah. How are you, Pamela? Danielo Evangelista. It could happen, but for the first day, not really. David McLean. Is this spring going to be the worst severe weather in Youngstown, Ohio? I can't tell you that. Again, as we move into March, April, and May, the threat of severe weather activity tends to go up as the colder air is driven away to the north and interacts with warmer air coming up from the south. Certainly, it's the season, March, April, and May, for severe weather. We shall see what happens. After March 15th, Daniela Evangelista wants to know, maybe some snow, maybe. Again, if it's going to happen in March, it's not going to happen in the first week or 10 days. Just forget about it. In fact, let me tell you, on my extended forecast, first day of March, Sunday, going for a high in the Hudson Valley on Sunday of 39 degrees. 45, a nice jump for Monday. 55, double nickels for next Tuesday. That's the 3rd of March. And for March 4th, which, by the way, is the only date on the calendar that could also be a declarative sentence. March 4th, 57 degrees. You ain't going to make snow with a 57-degree temperature, and we're probably going to have some rain and showery weather to deal with on that first day of March. That's next Wednesday. And again, doesn't really look like much of a winter pattern shaping up as we move into the month of March. April will not snow. Wouldn't say that with any certainty, Daniel. I don't know how old you are, but there was one particular April, that was back in 1982, when on the 6th of April, we actually had blizzard warnings posted right here in little old New York. Not impossible. It's not likely, but it can still happen that late in the season. Timothy Veltman, how are you, Tim? It looks rather mild and balmy coming your way, even up in the Albany area in the coming days after this brief cool down that we're going to have here beginning tomorrow on through the upcoming weekend. Is spring going to be really hot like 90s in April, says Daniel Fitzsimmons. Daniel, again, you're grasping here. I can remember a day in April where we had temperatures in the 90s. April the 18th, 1976, it was Easter Sunday here in New York, and we in New York City hit 96 degrees. Not only was that 96 the hottest temperature in 1976 in New York City, it was the first time and the only time that New York City was the national high temperature. throughout the entire country. No place in Florida or Arizona or Southern California. It was little old New York in April the 18th, 1976, an Easter Sunday, by far and away the hottest Easter Sunday on record at Central Park. And it came 6 years after the snowiest Easter Sunday, March 29th, 1970. That's the interesting thing about Easter, being a movable feast. You can have weather that's akin to what you get on the 4th of July, or you can have weather akin to what you could have on a typical midwinter day. Kind of weird, kind of amazing. Anyway, Tim Belvin says, I take it you saw blizzard warnings for the major lake effect event, Joe. Drifts up to 10 to 12 feet. Well, but you know, Joe Cioffi and I have been talking about the fact that since there hasn't been much of a winter, even up around the Great Lakes, and since there has not been much of any significant ice cover on the Great Lakes are wide open. So any batch of very cold weather or cold wind that flows over those wide open lakes is going to produce a rather significant, if not, as you mentioned, Tim, a rather substantial snowfall to the lee of the lakes. And that looks like it's going to happen. So if you're a snow lover and you want snow, as we've been saying, upstate New York, Adirondacks, or right along the lee of the lakes in western New York over the coming days ahead. There are places like Watertown, for example, and there's a little town near Watertown called Barnes Corners that picks up a copious amount of snowfall. Sometimes they're right in the channel, so to speak, for heavy-duty snow. So if you like snow and you have a few days off, you want to see it, that is the place to go in the coming days ahead. All right, I'm going to close things down here. A little case in point here. For those of you who are not aware, the Joe and Joe show tonight is going to be a rather late Joe and Joe. We're tentatively scheduled to start not at 7 o'clock tonight, but at 9:30. So make your plans now. 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, this Wednesday night, for Joe and Joe. We will not be there at 7 o'clock. We will be there at 9:30. And by the way, as I continue to mention, if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, Joe and Joe is on Joe's YouTube channel, but on my YouTube channel, what you're watching right now, if you have yet to subscribe, please do so. It doesn't cost anything. We're trying to reach that magic number 1,000. Right now, we have about 637 subscribers, but we could always use more. Spread the word about Joe Rayo Weather on YouTube. All right, so we're going to be heading on off now, and again, we'll be on tonight, Joe and Joe, on Joe's Joe Cioffi's YouTube channel, 9:30 this evening, not 7, but 9:30, and we'll see you then. You have a good one, everybody, and you make it a great rest of your hump day, the rest of your Wednesday, and watch out for those heavy-duty showers and maybe some rumbles of thunder tomorrow morning, sometime around 4 to 6 in the a.m. Make it a good one, everyone.